Hey, it's Charlie. Just had my beans on toast. Got myself a cuppa. And here to talk about Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. The fight that a few years ago, Adam, I laughed out the building. But I'll be honest, it's got me. It's got me entertained enough that it's dragging me into doing this kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, where to start? Where to start? The whole thing is it's a bit of a soap opera. But let's get down to who do you favour? I mean, I'll be honest, I'm seriously leaning towards Jake Paul for a whole number of reasons that I'm going to get into. And I know the lazy analysis is Tommy Fury's he's a fighting man, fighting name, fighting family, he's got more experience, he's a serious pro boxer and all this kind of stuff. I think if you look at it, you dig a little bit deeper, it is not so simple. Let's start with the fighting man, experienced pro boxer. I disagree, and I know it's going to sound a little bit weird because obviously the Furies are known for being a fighting family, but Tommy Fury, from what I can tell, fights because of he's in a fighting family, not because he really enjoys it. He's really passionate about it. He's really dedicated to the sport. He's just kind of done it and been around it almost for the sake of it. And you can various indications that show that he's not particularly serious about boxing, or hasn't been until at least November of last year. Firstly, his body shape. He is way overly muscular in his upper body for boxing. And that's going to cause him problems the second he's in a fight that is going to be a bit of a battle and go a little bit long. And he's already gassed in previous fights against opponents who were basically paid to lose. I think he trains to look good. You want a PT, for confidence. You want to look great. Tommy Fury's your guy. You want boxing build. It's ridiculous. I mean, right, all the weigh-ins and all that kind of stuff's done now. There was a quote from John Fury that I just caught. This is one of the reasons I wanted to do the video. He said, "Look at that guy's body." Talking about Jake Paul. "What chance does he stand against a titan like Tommy?" Something else, and then no muscle, no definition. You're the father of Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's built his brand on being a tubby boxer. Like, this is another red flag that for me, like, they constantly contradict themselves, the Fury team. Half of what they say leading up to this fight is absolute garbage. And it's I picked Tyson Fury to dethrone Vladimir Klitschko. A lot of what he was saying going into that, I mean, he duped the world to a degree in that he fought a very tactical fight as opposed to the knockout that he was threatening. But generally, the stuff he was saying, there's very little to disagree with. That is not the case here. Oh my goodness, like almost everything that comes out of Team Fury is just contradictory nonsense. I mean, Tommy Fury says things like, "Oh, Jake Paul doesn't want to fight me. He's been forced into this by his mouth." Dude, you bailed on him twice. If he didn't want to fight you, he'd just take the moral victory. He'd just walk off and go, "Yeah, well, that guy didn't want to fight me, so I'm not going to fight him." He's the one that made it happen. I mean, it's crazy. And then another red flag, having your father in the corner when... What has John Fury accomplished as a trainer, really? There's a reason Tyson Fury doesn't train with his father. He is not a great cornerman, and he's causing Tommy Fury a lot of problems. He keeps on making himself the centre of attention to start with, and a lot of father trainers do this, and it's a little bit cringeworthy as is. But it's stuff like snapping Jake Paul's hand off on that double or nothing. Why are you doing that on behalf of Tommy? And he's standing there in the face to face, standing over and going, "Oh, you've got my word as the head of the Fury clan." This is Tommy Fury's moment. Yeah, sit the fuck down, mate. But he keeps on doing it, and he keeps on. Tommy Fury's like looking at him for permission. Like, Jesus Christ, grow a pair. If that was my dad, I'd be like, "Fuck off, mate." Let me handle it. That, like, almost everything that Tommy Fury says, though, is just like, you listen to it and you just think, you can't. You're either projecting, talking about yourself, or you just can't. You just don't mean it. I fought better people when I was 14. I spotted better people in the gym. Well, I'm sure you did, but you were 14. They weren't trying to knock you out, mate. It's a whole different kettle of fish. Just, my personal belief is that, okay, there's a lot of talk, oh, Jake Paul's just a YouTuber and he's not a professional boxer. 3 months ago, you had a point. Sorry, 3 months. 3 years ago, you had a point. A year ago, you had a point, maybe. But he's been doing it, training professionally, probably since the pandemic set in, like 2020. Maybe earlier than that. At some point, there's a threshold that he reaches where he stops being just like a white-collar YouTuber and he becomes a pro boxer. And Jake Paul, like, of course, his early opponents were all pretty shocking, all the way up through Ben Askren. But Tyron Woodley, gun shy maybe, but a world champion, a UFC champion, who could crack. He was known for his devastating right hand. Jake Paul handled his business there. Anderson Silva, a year or so after handling Chavez Jr., again, not top tier, but an experienced pro boxer. Anderson Silva, one of the greatest MMA strikers of all time. All right, granted, way removed from his prime, but still canny, experienced, gutsy, and with a lot of tricks up his sleeve. And Jake Paul handled business there. He's challenged himself. Where in Tommy Fury's career has he challenged himself? Because probably the closest that I could pick out in his career for challenging himself would be Love Island. Like, his actual boxing career is a joke. Like, the people who are paid to lose, even the guy that had a winning record that he fought, I forget the name, some Polish lad. Jesus Christ, I beat that guy. That guy looked like he didn't belong in a boxing ring. He looked like he might be competitive with Ben Askren, let's just say. So much is made of Tommy Fury's family and boxing history that is frankly unjustified when you look a little bit deeper. I mean, talking about nonsensical things. I mean, there was in the face-to-face, he said, Tommy Fury tried to pick out Jake Paul's calves. He's like, oh, you got big calves. Big calves are unathletic. You fucking dense. Right. This is where it's the finer details where I start to look at Tommy Fury and think, this guy does not understand what he's doing. He's doing it just because. He's doing it because he's told to. He's doing it because, he's just repeating the things that he's shown. He has no understanding. And one of them is, he runs on his heels, right? If you don't know anything about running, that may not be a red flag to you, but if you know anything about running on your heels is bad. And it's one of the reasons he's got scrawny legs. And it's one of the reasons he'll fucking tire in the fight, other than his giant, bulky, top-heavy body. You should run on the balls of your feet, right? And big calves usually mean that you've got a very strong base, very strong foundation. They're usually a very good sign. One of the most famous boxers in the history of the sport, one of the most successful boxers in the history of the sport, is very well known for his big calves. I'm talking about Manny Pacquiao, right? And that's not just where kind of the analysis goes, that's just the way they run, because Jake Paul runs on the balls of his feet, by the way. He's obviously doing it properly. If you watch like footage of Tommy Fury training or fighting, frankly, his feet seem disconnected from his hands. His shoulders just seem they just don't seem synchronized with his arms. So he's doing stuff like when he's pushing off the back of his foot to throw a right hand, his foot's often facing sideways, and he's often up on his toe as the right hand's landing, not a nice strong foundation, having properly twisted the foot so it's pointing forwards. I mean, I'd advocate you should never have been facing sideways in the first place, but there's a lot of boxers that get away with that by rotating their foot first before or rotating as they land the punch to push off their base. But that's one of many little details. If you start looking, like just the way he lands his punches on the bag just doesn't sit right. His shoulders often either come way before or way after his punches. It's like he's not understanding exactly what he's doing and refining it. He's just doing it. And as far as I can tell, the vast majority of his motivation comes from one, looking good. He looks fantastic. He looks brilliant. Most guys would love to look like him, right? But looking good is not what you need in professional boxing. Yeah? That's Tyson Fury. And two, because he's been forced into it by his family, or it's kind of been imposed on him. Yeah, as such, I think he's in for a rude awakening. He talks about how, the other thing is his family's blowing smoke up his ass. The only Fury that I've heard reasonable takes from is Shane Fury. Like, every interview I've heard with him has been kind of spot on. He says how they're both nervous, and then the others, Tommy's insisting that he's not. He's nervous as hell. It's a massive platform. And then he's got all the shit his family are putting on and all the stuff his dad's getting up to. He's got to think if he doesn't win, it is massively embarrassing. Whereas Jake Paul can just go, well, I'm a YouTuber trying it on with a professional boxer. As big as he's put on, it's not as big a fall from grace for him. So yeah, I can't see from everything that Tommy Fury says how he's going to handle adversity when this fight gets tough. And I am pretty sure this fight's going to become a bit of a battle. I'm pretty sure that Fury's going to come out. I don't think he's got the temperament or the discipline to fight a very very technical, behind the jab fight like his brother did against Klitschko. He's not that kind of level. He's not experienced like that. I think he's going to come out swinging. You can see he's getting emotional away and he's screaming. He's going to knock Jake out. He's going to come out. He's going to try and get that knockout, and he's going to be tired. He's going to be tired, and then he's going to start getting hit because his hands will have dropped. Because those big, heavy, muscular arms, keeping him up won't be so easy. That loose head movement, he won't be relaxed. He'll be nervous. He'll be anxious. He'll be getting clipped. And at that point, all the smoke his family have blown up his ass about how Jake Paul has been no business in the ring with him. He's going to have to draw on something we have certainly never seen. There is absolutely no evidence of from Tommy Fury, which is some kind of reserve and inner fortitude and self-belief and determination and gutsiness. He's going to have to really, really fight through the pain once he gets a little bit tired and is getting hit. Whereas when Jake Paul talks, he talks like he respects Tommy Fury's fighting ability. He says the things that he does well. He says the things that prepare him for it. It's like when Jake Paul faces adversity, these will be things that they have accounted for in the gym, and he will have things to draw upon that it isn't just, holy shit, I'm going to lose, or holy shit, this is horrible. It's like, yeah, we expected this, I've got to move my head, I've got to keep my hands up, whatever it is. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Jake Paul's technique is perfect. He's a long way removed from what he claims to be. He keeps on talking about how he wants to fight Canelo and all this shit. Like, Jesus Christ, you're getting in the most optimistic of worlds, 5 years ahead of yourself there. Yeah. Right? And even then, that's like to a level where maybe you might have earned a chance to be in the ring with Canelo, not being on a level where you might be able to compete with him. Two different things. Yeah, so, but at least he says the things like that, I feel that he's taking his preparation seriously, and I don't just mean training hard. I mean understanding your opponent and dealing with their strengths, so that when things start to go wrong, then things will go wrong for both fighters. I have no doubts about that. He won't panic. He will have that kind of that memory of training to draw upon. Tommy Fury doesn't have that. He's going to be like, holy shit, this is going wrong, and I don't know what to do. And when that happens, however long it is, between then and getting to his corner becomes a very long time. Those seconds will feel like minutes. Minutes will feel like hours. That's where Tommy's going to be in a world of trouble. That's one of the reasons I'm leaning towards Jake Paul. I think Tommy's going to tire. big, heavy upper body. The arms are going to drop. He's going to start getting hit, and he's just not going to know what to do. Because it's one thing being technical and skillful when you're fresh. When your arms are full of lactic acid, when you can barely catch a breath, it's a different matter, and that's where I see the fight going. I think in those circumstances, Jake Paul has reserves and Tommy Fury doesn't, and that is why I'm leaning Jake Paul. I'm sure there's like 101 things that I wanted to mention in this video I haven't touched upon. Just that it's been such a roller coaster of a build-up. Just so entertaining watching them go back and forth. I mean, they're not signing that double or quits thing in the end. I mean, I agree with not signing it, but you shouldn't have said you were going to sign it. You should have just gone, you know what? We're professionals. We don't mess around with that. This is prize fighting. We need to get paid. That's okay. The bigger money is in the future. This is a big payday, but this puts us on the map. So we'll put that. We don't need that headache. Put that to one side. We'll just focus on the fight. That's what you should have been saying there, but egos, eh? Anyway, this is Charlie. Have a nice day. Enjoy your fights. It'll be good. I'm quite looking forward to this one in a way that I would never have anticipated. Jesus. Could you imagine, a couple of years ago saying Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury would be one of the most hyped fights of the year? Well, good luck to both of them,